In this interview, I speak with Erin. She's 28 years old and lives in New York City. She shares what it's like working as an environmental health and safety consultant. Let's get started.
Hi, Erin. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited to hear about your career as an environmental health and safety consultant. So thanks so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So right off the bat, can you give me like a blanket kind of definition of what your career as an EHS consultant is like?
Sure, yeah. So I work in New York City, as you mentioned, an environmental health and safety consultant. And what that generally entails is working for a very wide range of clientele and providing external environmental health and safety compliance solutions. So it can range from project-based work, from routine, several years of managing their environmental health and safety programs. And the industries can range from manufacturing to healthcare to higher education, laboratory space, so research and development, and now very much kind of sectoring into the world of life science. So heading in the biotech sphere, which has been very exciting.
Okay, cool. And now I'm assuming there might be some overlap with recent, COVID related things. Have you worked at all on safety precautions with COVID?
Absolutely, yes. I kind of joke that that was like the time of job security for me, where it became really clear for a lot of industries that protecting their workers from health and safety issues was critical. And so particularly, as you could assume, in the healthcare sector, there's a lot of requirements for companies to provide a safe working environment for their employees. And with an emerging pandemic, you have a lot of shifting guidelines from, consensus standards like the CDC to government with, regulations coming in for workplace safety. And so navigating that was definitely challenging, but really kind of enlightening to see how quickly changing and adapting the industry needs to be to ensure that employees can get home safe, essentially.
So, like you said, there's a lot of adaptability, obviously, in recent times. Are there any particular skills besides the hard, maybe degrees or certifications, which I'm sure we'll get into, that are helpful for individuals interested in this career to have?
I think that one kind of just like general skill that came in handy was communication. I think a lot of what I do is I help talk to people about scary parts of their job that make them anxious and nervous. And I think really understanding how to protect yourself when there isn't a safety consultant there to provide that is really important. So communicating these tools for, employees that they can take with them and utilize every single day in their workplace, and communicating it in a way that's not so scary and high level and overwhelming, but more just human, so people can understand, okay, it's really not that complicated, but here's what you need to do to protect yourself, to protect your colleagues. And I think that goes a really long way. Obviously, understanding the complexities of the industry and regulations helps quite a bit, but I think communication is probably the sole tool that helps to get into that level of detail.
That's awesome. I think communication is probably a highly underrated skill across a lot of different professions. So I'm glad that you called that out, because I'm sure, as you said, it's a big part of this one. So backtracking a little bit, can you tell me a little bit about how you got to where you are today, how you found out about this as a career, and maybe your education journey?
Yeah, so I graduated from Binghamton University. I graduated with an environmental resource management degree that's actually under the geography major. So I kind of found my way into that degree a bit randomly. I moved around quite a bit during my undergrad, not really deciding what I wanted to do until maybe junior year, which they tell you not to do, but it worked just fine. Exactly. And then when I graduated, I was kind of just looking for jobs in the industry. A lot of my internships had been with nonprofits, and I really liked the activism aspect of environmental compliance, but more so kind of environmental policy and how we can enact change from a very high level. And so the boots on the ground organizing was really interesting, but I wanted to delve into a different aspect of the industry. And I actually met with a family friend in my hometown in New Milford, Connecticut, and they showed me around a water it was kind of a paper mill, so paper processing with water and pulp. And it was a really high level overview of what the environmental health and safety industry looked like and how they comply with local regulations and how they keep their workers safe, because it's a very dangerous industry, which I didn't really know too much about. And they kind of gave me scope into that. And I signed up for this newsletter called EHS Careers per his recommendation. And this company, Triumvirate Environmental, came up to work as an environmental specialist